especially due to the intermittent rainfall, which made the surface sticky, creating hurdles in the rescue work. Meanwhile, speaking exclusively to Northeast Live, Chief of Bureau Arindam Das, None Deputy Commissioner H. Guite said that the rescue operations will continue till the last person has been traced.
We have with us the DC of None district, Mr. H. Guite. Well, today is the third day of the rescue and search operation. What is the progress so far?
Progress could have been better had it not been for the unfortunate rains that keep coming and hampering the progress work. Because, as you can see in the ground right now, this ground is also shifting. So, we do not know how safe and stable this place is as well. We will continue our operations until dark. After nightfall, both NDRF and SDRF experts, the specialists, have advised that we should not continue during the night time because of the dangerous terrain and the conditions here. So we will be resuming it tomorrow again around 4 o'clock. Um, Full support we have gotten with the guidance of and leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister of Manipur Sri and Biren Singh, and also lots of honorable ministers are also sending relief materials and other things. CSOs and local organizations, they are also sending relief materials, and we are also getting lots of manpower support from the locals as well. In total, we have more than 470 persons who are currently involved in the search and rescue efforts.
So, how are you moving ahead with the rescue operation? Since it looks like a mammoth task, the area is huge. How are you pinpointing that you have to carry out the search operation in this particular location for the missing people?
The army has flown in, with the support of the army, they have flown in from Jammu as special equipment, special radar equipment that can detect dead bodies up to a depth of 20 meters. And using using that equipment, they have been able to identify, according to them, six bodies. Six bodies have been identified using that technology. Otherwise, it's getting increasingly difficult because most of the bodies that are in shallow ground, they have been recovered. The rest of them are expected to be at deeper level.
What is the depth?
We cannot exactly ascertain it. It's different depths, but it's increasing in depth, so it'll go to beyond like 10 meters easily from now.
Well, the latest recovery of the bodies, is it made through this?
We're yet to ascertain that report.
And as day is ticking by, so how are the chances of finding anybody alive right now?
Chances are, according to NDRF, the chances are very, very slim. It's almost zero because food and water is missing. And besides, there are no air pockets that can form because it's a landslide. It's not like an avalanche or some people being trapped. Unfortunately, there are no major concrete structures also where air pockets can be formed. Most of these are makeshift structures. So chances are negligible.
How long do you feel that this operation will continue?
We will continue as long until we find all the bodies, and that is the instruction we receive from the state government. But we are hoping that we'll be able to recover all the bodies sooner than later.
Thank you very much. That was the DC of None District, Mr. H. Guite, speaking exclusively to Northeast Live. Reporting from None, this is Arindam Das for Northeast Live.
And the Northeast Live also spoke to Pankaj Kavidayal, the commandant of 12 NDRF Battalion, who spoke in detail about the rescue operations. Listening.
We have with us the commandant of 12 NDRF Battalion, Mr. Pankaj Kavidya. What are the challenges you are facing in this massive search and rescue operation?
See, though the frontage of this landslide is just 300 meters, but it when it went down, it has become almost more than a kilometer frontage. So finding or pinpointing a place where bodies can be found is very difficult. Therefore, we have requested state authorities to employ more excavators, and state has been kind enough to mobilize resources from railways and other agencies. So now the search process is going on smoothly.
Now, the weather is also a challenge because even as we are speaking, we can see that it has started raining.
If it rains, definitely it will be a big challenge to retrieve bodies, because in that case sand will become more sticky, and it will hamper the search process of from manually, and it will affect movement of these excavators also. So we pray to God that weather remains rainless. Let's see.
If it rains, there are chances of fresh landslides also.
Even before rains, there are still chances of landslide, because you see this whole area, the debris on which we are standing is a landslide debris. So and you can see the crack also. Morning there was a trigger on upside hill of Tupul railway station. So chances are still there of fresh landslide. But since now there is no population, no loss of life is expected.
And well, the Indian Army has brought in highly sophisticated equipment to aid in the ongoing search and rescue operations at the Tupul landslide site in Manipur. With rescuers racing against time searching for the missing persons, the Indian Army has now turned to the through wall imaging radar. A device developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, in India, the through wall imaging radar, also called Divya Chakshu, or the divine eye, is being used for searching for the missing people under the multitude of debris at the landslide site in None. Divya Chakshu is the Indian name of a handheld portable through-wall imaging radar system that has been developed by the Electronics and Radar Development Establishment, a Bengaluru-based laboratory of the DRDO. The machine is a sensor used for detection and location of static and moving targets, especially humans, behind walls, and was initially developed to help the Indian Armed Forces in hostage rescue operations. It has a detection range of a minimum of 20 meters through obstacles like concrete, brick walls, wood, even under rain and humid conditions. It can also be operated on a tripod and even remotely. At Tupul, the radar is being used to detect human presence under the multitude of debris. And meanwhile, the Kuki Khanglai Lompi, or KKL, today provided drinking water, juice, and other items to the rescue workers engaged in search and rescue operations at the site of the tragic landslide at Tupul in Manipur's None district. The refreshment was handed over to DC None Haulian Lal Guite in the presence of Rongme Naga Youth Organization President Dai Chui Pao. Talking to Northeast Live, KKL Vice President Pao Zhang Mang expressed shock over the devastating landslide and also pledged to provide all possible support to the rescue operations, including additional manpower if and when required.
The Kuki Khanglai Lompi General Headquarters is always ready to supply all kinds of supports and aids to the rescue mission, whatever and whenever it is necessary in terms of manpower and other equipments that we can have in our stance. And also, today, in order to give some sorts of relief to the tile and wearing rescue workers, we brought here a few some consignments of refreshment, namely water bottles, juice, and other cakes and eatables that can be used for themselves as a source of refreshment.
And DC None H. Guite also thanked the Kuki organization for extending a helping hand.
First, I would like to give thanks to KKL organization of Churchandpur for donating certain relief materials, mostly juice and water bottles, which are badly in need by the rescue effort team. And the entire state machinery is providing the support here. The army has brought in a particular radar machinery, radar equipment, from all the way from Jammu to trace and identify these dead bodies.
Meanwhile, the immortal remains of Army Jawan Jiarul Haq has been brought to his native village in Assam's Borpeta district. Scores of people gathered as Jiarul's mortal remains were received by his bereaved family members. Jiarul's wife stood by his body with his infant child in her arms. Cabinet Minister Ranjit Kumar Das was also present during the arrival of the body and paid floral tributes to the departed braveheart. Later, Jiarul Haq was given a state funeral today. And the mortal remains of Army Jawan Balaram Sharma arrived in Assam's Haflong today. Sharma's mortal remains were received by his grief-stricken relatives. A guard of honor was also given to the deceased Army Jawan after his body reached Haflong. And after that, the body was taken to his house in Umrangso, where the last rites were performed. Scores of people gathered at the procession in Govindanagar from his house to the crematorium. Meanwhile, our colleague Swadip Hasamsa was present in Haflong when Sharma's body was brought from Manipur, where he talked to some of Sharma's relatives. Listening.
इस वक्त हम पहुंच गए हैं उमराव में और हम यही बताना चाहेंगे कि दिमा हसाओ में दो व्यक्ति जो है, दो जवान हमारे जो जो इस मणिपुर का जो लैंडस्लाइड में जो हादसा में उनमें से एक था कि बलराम शर्मा। तो बलराम शर्मा इस वक्त उमराव का उसका घर में पहुंच गए और रैली के लिए उसको रवाना किया जा रहा है। और यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं कि पूरी भीड़ लगा हुआ है, लोग पूरा उमराव के लोग निकल के आए हैं इनको एक झलक देखने पाया, फिर एक बार अंतिम उनको छूने के लिए उनका बलराम को, क्योंकि बलराम ऐसा था कि यहाँ पे उनकी यहाँ पर उनका सभी के साथ एक बहुत अच्छा लगाव था, बहुत अच्छा रिश्ता था। अब उनका एक दोस्त रहा होगा बलराम का, वो कैसा था व्यक्ति?
अरे बहुत अच्छा। हाँ, सबसे अच्छा व्यवहार। हाँ, सभी से मतलब मिलजुल के रहना। हाँ, उसका बहुत ठीक था। स्पोर्ट भी बहुत अच्छा, स्पोर्ट्स में भी बहुत अच्छा था। बहुत सही था आदमी। अच्छा, सबसे छोटा वही था। हाँ, घर का।
हाँ, ये था उनका दोस्त, तो उन्होंने बताया कि बहुत अच्छा इंसान था वो। और ये है और भी हमारे साथ मौजूद है कि हम इन लोगों से भी पट्टी का जानने की कोशिश करते हैं। दादा, आपने बलराम को छोटा से देखा है, बचपन से देखा है, कैसा था वो?
वो बहुत अच्छा लड़का था, शांत स्वभाव का लड़का था। हम लोग सोचा नहीं कि वो आर्मी में जाएगा, मगर वो 2014 में किया। हाँ, इसके बाद में उन्होंने बहुत स्ट्रगल करा। घर तो पूजा पे आया था, वो पूजा पे आया था, दुर्गा पूजा पे आया था।
लास्ट दुर्गा पूजा।
हाँ, अब उसका आधा घंटा ही ड्यूटी था बोल के मैंने सुना था। हाँ, आधे घंटे के बाद में उसका ड्यूटी ऑफ होता रहा।
अच्छा,
पर क्या करे अब, उन्हीं को कौन रोक सकता है।
बलराम को बलराम को प्यार देने के लिए, उनको एक झलक छूने के लिए, एक बार देखने के अंतिम विदा देने के लिए लोग अपनी अपनी घरों से निकल के आए हैं।
Meanwhile, we have reactions from CEM of North Kachar Hills Autonomous District Council, Debolal Gorlosa. Listen in.
जो ये जो हुआ है घटना, तो बहुत दुख का बात है। लैंडस्लाइड पे अपना देश के लिए वो ड्यूटी में ऑन ड्यूटी में हुआ था। तो अभी सुनने में मिला है हम लोग का ये उमरांशु का है, और एक भी मैं अभी काशीपुर में जाके मिल के आया, उनका परिवार से अभी भी मिसिंग है। बहुत दुख का बात है, और इसमें तो हम लोग क्या हुआ कैसे हुआ नहीं बोल नहीं सकता है, लेकिन बहुत दुख का बात है। और हम लोग का तरफ से भी जितना सब सरकार का तरफ से भी हम लोग साथ में देगा, उनका जो परिवार लोग थे सब मिलके भी आया, वही है हमारा सबसे। हाँ, दो ही खबर मिला, लेकिन एक भी क्या हुआ है अभी भी मिसिंग है। 3 दिन से लापता है, लेकिन शायद वहाँ पे ही था, लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ नहीं है आप तो बोल नहीं सकता है, लेकिन उनका घर का तरफ से मिला है।
We also have reactions from Assam Cabinet Minister Nandita Gorlosa.
दूसरे के लिए एक एग्जाम्पल होना था। लेकिन दुर्घटना का बात है कि इन लोगों का इस सिचुएशन पे वो लोग लॉस लाइफ होना पड़ा। जब आर्मी में है तो उन लोगों का देयर लाइव्स आर ऑलवेज फॉर द नेशन। ये भी एक बात का नेशन है, बट देन दे वुड हैव बीन मोर अच्छा होना था उन लोगों का हिसाब से। लाइक उनका पिताजी माताजी से हम बात किया था, उन लोगों का हिसाब से तो लाइक फॉर द कंट्री चला गया है। इट्स अ सैड डे फॉर अस। बहुत ही कम जाता है और इसमें भी ऐसे दुर्घटना में चला गया है। ग्रेट लॉस फॉर आवर।
And meanwhile, the immortal remains of the 11 Gorkha bravehearts were also flown home today. The immortal remains arrived at the Bagdogra airport in two separate flights. The first flight landed at Bagdogra with the immortal remains of 6 Jawans in the morning, and the second arrived later with the immortal remains of the other 5 Jawans. After a wreath laying ceremony at the airport, the bodies were then sent off to their respective homes for their last rites. And out of the 11 Gorkha bravehearts, 10 were flown home to Darjeeling, and the mortal remains of Lieutenant Shering Lepcha is now being taken to his residence in North Sikkim. The mortal remains of Lieutenant Naik Shering Lepcha reached a gateway of Rangpo in Sikkim. Lepcha hails from Zongu in North Sikkim, and his body is being taken to his native place where his last rites would be performed. And meanwhile, Assam Cabinet Minister Piju Hazarika spoke exclusively to Northeast Life Chief of Bureau Arindam Das, wherein informed that 7 workers from Assam are dead, while 5 have been rescued and 13 still remain missing. He also added that the immortal remains will be brought to Assam tomorrow.
As I got a report from the construction company who brought laborers from Assam, they brought 23 laborers. They had 23 persons from Assam, and out of them, 7 already declared dead. 5 were rescued, and 11 are missing. And one another railway officials from Gulukganj area, he's also missing. And one another person engaged in one another construction company, he's from Lamding, also missing. That way, so far, from Assam, 7 person is died, 5 is rescued, 5 were rescued, and 13 are still missing. Rescue operation is going on. We are also monitoring. Our CM is talking to me or talking to officials uh, in a very serious manner. Just now, he has ordered me to arrange to uh, so that we can send back our dead bodies or rescued persons. So we'll do on that. From tomorrow, we'll be able to send our rescued person or the bodies. From tomorrow, it will be started.
Meanwhile, amongst the deceased in the tragic None landslide incident is Sanjoy Debnath hailing from Tripura. The body of Debnath, an army trooper, was recovered from the debris at the site of the tragic landslide. Debnath hailed from Bishalgarh in Tripura's Sipahijala district. Meanwhile, the Tripura government has expressed condolence at the death of the braveheart. So, what could be the reasons behind this devastating landslide? Well, a Northeast Live correspondent Sharat Chandra caught up with Professor N. Deva Singh, Department of Geography, Manipur University, who said that multiple reasons could be behind the tragic landslide, which has claimed several lives so far. According to Professor Singh, one of the main reasons could be due to the heavy rainfall, as Tupul area in None falls under southwest monsoon, which is prone to heavy rainfall. Another reason could be the prolonged exposure of soil without any vegetation, which renders the soil prone to landslides whenever the area receives heavy rainfall. Well, now let's listen in to the full conversation with Professor N. Deva Singh.
With me is Professor N. Deva Singh, Department of Geography, Manipur University. Sir, just my simple question is, what could be the reason behind the Tupul massive landslide? Is it due to the heavy rainfall, or is it any kind of influence of geo-environmental factor?
There may be many factors, you see. Uh, Geo-environmental factors means you see the structurally, there may be weak, you know that geological matters, I mean to say. And then there is a slope concern, and there may be a land use type, because projects is continuing, and people who are there, they have, that do they have done agriculture work, and then soil, other things exposed, and are not, I would say, take visitations of the area. You see the point. Then most important is more rainfall than other part because of southwest monsoons during the season. So then another point is that I should say that how far it is true, I don't know. We have to see the record. If there's a minor tremor, I mean, the earthquake, that we may not feel that minor tremor, but simultaneously, if the tremor was there, then could be one of the factor to contribute to this. So these factors might be responsible of that. There's again questions because of rain, the rivers flowing down. Now there may be erosions of that. So people are talking about the toe erosion, this and that. Naturally, if it's so, then from above there'll be gravity, that. So CPS will develop, and then landslide may occur.
As the construction is on at the Tupul side for the construction of this railway station as well as the tunnel, we witnessed the movement of heavy machinery like excavator from medium size to very heavy size. So can it be a kind of contribution to the shaking or any kind of just very mild tremor at the area?
If there is a toe erosion, even though at the lower reach, if there's erosion, and then in the middle part, the project work is going on, movement of the vehicle and other things, and then rainfalls occurs, and then maybe seepage develop on the upper side, then simultaneously it may contribute. So movement of the vehicle and exposition of the rock, I tell you that project work, widening of the road, certainly, that all these things will contribute to have such kind of tragedy.
Yeah, this is a professor and Deva Singh, who is a professor in this geography department, Manipur University. According to him, so far as the massive landslide that occurred in Tupul area, it could be of multiple reason. One important reason is heavy rainfall. Another reason is the mild tremor, which human being could not feel, but such thing also can trigger such kind of massive landslide. With video journalist Roshan, this is Sharat Chandra reporting for Notice Live from Impal.
It's time for a short break now. More news and updates to follow on at the other side. Stay tuned.
East Live, most watched English news channel in Northeast. Number 1 English channel in region. Highest urban and rural viewers in Northeast. Most viewed news channel of Northeast on YouTube.
A university is much more than just a place to get your education. It not only helps you build your career, but also your personality and mindset. At Assam Royal Global University, you will get the most suitable environment to gain knowledge and also grow as a person. The university has the best infrastructure with all the required facilities and best quality equipment for any kind of educational need.
সুগন্ধ ৰং আৰু সোৱাদ খাটি এভৰিডে জিভাত দিয়ে আসল জুটি এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ 100% টেষ্ট এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ বেষ্ট
आगे बढ़ने का गर्व जीतने का गर्व किसी की खुशियां बनने का गर्व देश को सुरक्षित रखने का गर्व ऐसे ही हजारों गर्व के पलों से जुड़ा हुआ है टाटा शक्ति क्योंकि जब आप जीते हैं गर्व से हम जीते हैं गर्व से
সুগন্ধ ৰং আৰু সোৱাদ খাটি এভৰিডে জিভাত দিয়ে আসল জুটি Everyday spices, 100% taste. Everyday spices, best.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Evening Prime. Before we continue, let's have another look at the headlines. Relentless search and rescue operations continue at Nonne disaster site. 12 bodies recovered today. Number of deceased goes up to 31. Army brings in special equipment to locate missing persons in Nonne. Rescue operations to continue until a last missing person is found. Bodies of victims taken to respective states. People pay rich tributes. Big boost to Tipra Motha. Over 11,000 people, including IPFT General Secretary Dhananjoy Tripura, joined Motha in the presence of Royal Scion Pradyut Debarma. NPP leader and Meghalaya Rajya Sabha MP W.R. Kharluki takes a dig at Trinamool Congress, says state will not accept culture of political violence like in Bengal. Sikkim Nagarik Samaj demands state government to initiate action against the Chief Secretary S.C. Gupta over alleged misappropriation of funds. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs crucial BJP National Executive Meeting in Hyderabad. Chief Ministers and Deputy Chief Ministers of all BJP ruled states attend meeting. Welcome back, viewers, and on to the big political story from Tripura. Is the IPFT a divided house over the Greater Tripura land issue? Well, such are the speculations after IPFT General Secretary and MLA Dhananjoy Tripura jumped ship to the Tripura Motha today with thousands of his supporters. This can be seen as a big political development ahead of the 2023 Assembly elections in the state. Speaking to our assistant news editor Pinaki Das, Dhananjoy alleged that people had voted in favor of IPFT for the Tripura land issue, but since coming to power, the party has forgotten to speak about Tripura land in the assembly in the last 4.5 years. According to Dhananjoy, the IPFT has betrayed the people for the sake of grabbing power. In a significant statement, the leader added that at present, only Tripura Motha is the lone party which is fighting for the Greater Tripura land issue.
There is no any regions. So we like Thansa, the slogan of Buagra. So if we want to save or if we want to give any permanent solution to our people, so we need unity. And that unity, I like that word. That is why I joined to Diploma today. Yeah, the public has given enough time to IPP to achieve something for the sake of Tripura people, but the IPP has failed to achieve. So now we need to find out the leaders who can give a permanent solutions to our people. So we have seen that there are Buagra is the only leaders who can give a constitutional solution to our people. So IPP has got a golden chance to give something constitutional solution before the election 2018, but lose their chances. They have diverted their from the demand. So as a being be a part of the government, so they have never raised the demand of people land. As we have seen it, during the time of this assembly session also, so they never raised their voice regarding the people land. So people divert their mind to changes to change another political party. So now the time at present who is demanding the separate state, that is only Dipramota.
And meanwhile, Tripura Motha Chief Pradyut Debarma challenged that without his party, nobody can form the government in Tripura. However, Pradyut Debarma said that the Tripura Motha is ready to be in the opposition and shall not compromise with the issue for the sake of grabbing power.
I think that it is not about encouragement, it's about a message being sent to the people. People are bigger than the party, and our message is that let's come together and speak in one voice. When we go to Delhi, let's speak in one voice because the people want unity. The people want us to get a constitutional solution, and we are following what the people's choices and the mandate is. And the people's mandate is unity, and people's mandate is to push ahead for our agenda of
Greater Tipra land and a constitutional solution.
All right, and to give us some more details, I'm being joined and now live from Agartala by our assistant news editor, Pinaki Das. Pinaki, there seems to be a growing divide in the IPFT house with Dhananjay Tripura now openly betraying openly deserting the party and joining the Tipra Motha in the presence of Royal Scion Pradyut Debarma today. And of course, big boost to the Tipra Motha. The IPFT's loss is the Tipra Motha's gain in this case. So what more can you tell us regarding this big political development, Pinaki?
See, what Tipramotha chief Pradyut has claimed is that he will be the kingmaker. In fact, he claimed that without his support, no party will come to single party will come to power. And but at the same time, he is also worried that once his MLAs are coming winning the election, they may be loaded with money or power. So that is a worry that is behind the mind working in Pradyut Kishore. And he has clearly today said that there may be a chance that when, like the previous IPFT, when for power, the MLAs may go in favor of power to grab some money. So these are the speculations that Pradyut has in mind, but he is repeatedly saying that we should work for our community. Power will always come and go, money will come and go, but we can make history, create a history by unitedly, if we now can fight for this greater Tripura land, and which is an democratic and constitutional right for the tribal people who he alleged for last 75 years nothing has happened for them, as it for particularly in development. While the allegation against the IPFT is that IPFT came to power in 2018 on the main agenda was demand for Tripura land, a separate tribal state. But after coming to power, except once by Bishwaketu, the Burma MLA of the IPFT, who now is always found working with Motha, particularly though he has not been put out of the party. The issue is still with the speaker. His whether he should remain in IPFT or what will be his in course of time we will come to know about. But he was the first person who was seen working with the Motha openly. He even after resigning to the speaker, he says he had himself went and submitted his resignation, but he was not removed. His issue is still pending. So these are the issues. So we can clearly say that that IPFT is gradually shrinking and Motha is gaining and will be one of the vital tribal party, or maybe one of the single biggest party we can say right now in Tripura, and in coming days election will play a major role, because already after forming of this political party in 3 months they have captured the TTADC, and that was a big blow to the ruling BJP IPFT. And in the recent election also, in one of the non-tribal seat, there's a Shurma seat, his party candidate, Motha candidate, has been the second highest vote. So this is very significant, which has encouraged the Motha to, which earlier said would contest from 20 seats, tribal reserve seats, now says they will go maybe for 40 seats also.
Right. So, the Pinaki, the main complaint that Dhananjay Tripura has against the IPFT is that, according to him, the IPFT, ever since coming to power, has forgotten all about the Tripura land demand. And now it is only the Tripura Motha that is raising the greater Tripura land issue. So, according to you, how far are these allegations true or untrue?
No, this is a fact, because BJP, after coming to power, and IPFT, which is its alliance partner, BJP had clearly said we are not in favor of a separate tribal state, that is Tripura land, and they said that we are in favor of development of the tribal people, and a high power modality committee was also formed under the Home Minister, though the reports are yet to come. And the BJP says that we have released huge fund for the tribals, particularly after Nirmal Sitaraman came, and these are all for the development of the tribal, but we are not in favor of a separate state. So IPFT, for the last, after coming to power, we did not find much on this agenda of tribal state on which it came to power. But on some of the occasions, we have seen that IPFT, though forgot to raise the issue in the House, that is the Assembly, but had jointly raised the issue at Jantar Mantar with Tipra Motha at Delhi when they had raised the issue. At some places, we also found them in joint press conference with the Tipra Motha saying they are not satisfied with the government, the way it is functioning. But again, after they move one step towards Tipra Motha, again we find the big leaders moving two steps behind. So this is the game going on. So that is creating a confusion among the supporters of the IPFT, and that is one of the reason the young force, particularly in the IPFT, had moved away from IPFT and are joining Tipra Motha, where they find a leader like Pradut Kishore, who is very bold and raising this issue of a separate. Though he says his is greater Tipraland, but at the same time he says more than 99% of the demands which IPFT had once raised are same as what Pradut Kishore says. So this is a fact that IPFT, though now IPFT is again trying to resume that the elections are coming, again it has realized how he had lost his base. Now they are trying to again raise the issue of Tripraland. Now, how much the voters or particularly the supporters will believe in IPFT, that is a big question for NC Dev Burma, who is now the head again of the IPFT.
Absolutely. Pinaki Das, thank you very much for joining us this evening and bringing us all of those latest details. And shifting focus now, in a big development, the Sikkim Nagarik Samaj has given a 3-day deadline to the Sikkim government to initiate action against Chief Secretary S.C. Gupta on allegations of misappropriation of funds. That's right, viewers, and not only this, the SNS has threatened to take to the streets in protest if S.C. Gupta is not suspended and an inquiry is not initiated against him within 3 days' time. The SNS alleged that the state government has failed to initiate any action against the chief secretary despite ample evidence to prove the charges against him. Besides, the organization slammed the clarification given by S.C. Gupta and called it a blatant effort to mislead the public and the government.
It is unfortunate that government of Sikkim has failed to take any action against Chief Secretary C.S. Gupta even after the charges of a massive allegation, massive corruption in the state treasury. With all the documents and fact, we have addressed the media today. So we are giving ultimatum to the government of Sikkim to take immediate action against Chief Secretary S.C. Gupta and let the rule of law prevail in the state. We have given 3 days to the government of Sikkim.
And moving on now, Meghalaya Rajya Sabha MP W.R. Kharluki today said that democracy practiced by the tribals of Meghalaya is older than anyone else's. The Rajya Sabha MP also said that the people of the state will not accept the culture of political violence as often seen in West Bengal. Kharluki's statement comes after TMC leader Abhishek Banerjee had openly lashed out at the NPP leadership, including Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma.
I don't find it worth reacting because he's like to say number 2 of a national party. To speak like that without any facts and things, this thing is not worth. People of the state will not accept. We never believe in violence. You have seen the election in West Bengal, a lot of violence. We people decide, we tribals, we are not like that. For them, democracy. For us, democracy is in a seminar in 1972, in the paper in Simla. You know that our people here were right from 3rd century BC we are here. So this is the democracy that we inherit. And their democracy is, I say, it's too short a period. I don't think our people will accept such culture. They will not accept such culture. We are not into that culture. I told you that democracy, its roots is deep rooted in our state. Nothing will happen.
All right, now let us have a look at another natural calamity that has struck the Northeast, the floods in Assam. Well, even though there has been a slight improvement in the overall flood scenario in the state, 30 districts are still reeling under floodwaters. And of these, close to 2,500 villages are still inundated. It may also be mentioned here that at least 14 flood-related casualties have been reported in the last 34 hours, taking the death toll to 155. Inundated for months now. Things have come to such a pass that people are now even facing a shortage of drinking water.
হ'ল আৰু ডুবি থকা নৈ পানী নহয় এইটো খালি বৰষুণৰ পানী এতিয়া লেট্ৰিন বাথৰুম মানে পানী খোৱা পানীৰ কাৰণে বহুত অসুবিধা আছে লগতে এতিয়া কি হ'ল পানীটো জাম হৈ কিনে বিষাক্ত হৈ গৈছে ইয়াত এতিয়া মোৰ হাঁহ আছিলে প্ৰায় 50টা হাঁহ আছিলে চব মৰিলে এতিয়া যদি আমাৰ মানে বেলেগে সুবিধাটো
ইমান দিন 2 মাহ 3 মাহ আমি পানী লেতেৰা পানী কাৰোবাৰ লেট্ৰিনৰ কিবা আছে কাৰোবাৰ টিউবৱেলে ডুবি গ'ল খাবলৈ কিমান অসুবিধা হৈ আছে টিউবৱেল এটা দিলেওতো হ'লে হয় বা 5 ঘৰ 6 ঘৰ একটা টিউবৱেল দিলেওতো ভাল আছিলে.
And even as the flood situation has improved in Hailakandi, people are still suffering a great deal. National Highway number 6 in Hailakandi continues to remain inundated. Bhaleshwar Point, which is the entry point to the district, continues to remain submerged. The Bhaleshwar-Hailakandi highway has been blocked for more than 24 hours now. Furthermore, scarcity of cooking gas in the district has led to hike in prices of the essential commodity.
ৰাস্তাটো বন্ধ আছে তো এখানে যাব লাগে তো আহি নাৱে নালাগে এতিয়া তো জল কমি আছে তো বান ক্ৰছ কৰি যাব লাগে তো নিশ্চিতভাৱে এখন স্থানীয় মথাউৰি দি খোজকাঢ়ি যাব লাগে তাৰ মানে কি হৈছে ৰাস্তা হাইলাকান্দিতো যোগাযোগ ব্যৱস্থা স্তব্ধ হৈ পৰিছে এতিয়া অলপমান পানী কমিছে তথাপি আৰু গাড়ী আহিব অৱস্থাত নাই সেইকাৰণে যিখিনি আৰু পানী আছে বানপানী সেই পানীৰ মানে সাহায্য লৈ এই চিলিণ্ডাৰকেইটা পাৰ কৰা হৈছে চিলিণ্ডাৰ গাড়ীকেইটা সোমাব পৰা নাই হাইলাকান্দিত সেইটো কাৰণে এই মানে পদ্ধতি অৱলম্বন কৰিছে তেওঁলোকে নাই নাই কোনে কৈছে দাম বাঢ়িছে কোন এজেঞ্চি এইটো এলপিজি ইয়াতে ওচৰতে আছে আৰু ইফালেও পানী আছে দেখা নাই ইফালে নাই খালি ইফালে আছে
And just as the flood situation in Assam's Gopur also started improving, it seems there is no end to the people's woes. Many of the roads in Gopur have no signs now. Communication has also been largely affected after a concrete culvert in Kekuri village in Jalukbari was washed away. As a result, people have been made to swim across or take boats to commute from one place to another as swelling waters of the Bolijan River have caused havoc.
বহুত অসুবিধা তোমার এখানে ঘাইপথ বুলি ক'ব পাৰি যেহেতু আমি মানে গহপুৰৰ অহা যোৱা এইখন ৰাস্তাই আমাৰ আৰু এইখন কালভাৰ লগত আৰু অকণমান একফালমো যাব নালাগে আৰু এখন কালভাৰো ভাঙি শেষ হৈ গ'ল গতিকে আমি যাতায়াতত বহুত কষ্ট পাইছোঁ ডেলিভাৰী মানুহ বেমাৰ আজাৰ ইত্যাদি ৰেচন চাউল সমবায় আনিবলৈ আমাৰ সমস্যা হৈছে এতিয়া সমবায়লৈ যাবলৈ এটা উপায় নাই নাৱৰ ভূৰখন আমি ৰাইজে বনাইছোঁ বুলিহে মানে কোনো পদ্য অহা যোৱা নাও নাই আমাৰ নাৱৰ কোনো ব্যৱস্থা নাই কিমান মানুহ অহা যোৱা কৰিব ডেইলি 4-5শ মানুহ ডেইলি আপ ডাউন কৰে এইটো ৰাস্তাত
গাঁওবুঢ়াৰ লগতো কৰিছো আমি চবৰ লগতে কৰিছো আজি ইমান প্ৰব্লেম চলি আছে আমাৰ এই ৰাস্তাটো বেয়া হৈ গ'ল তাতো ভাঙিলে এতিয়া এইটো মাথাউৰিটো ভাঙিলে আকৌ ইফালে কালভাৰটো সোমাই গ'ল একোৱে নাই আমাৰ এতিয়া যাবৰ কাৰণে মই ফোন কৰি আছো বিধায়কে ফোন নুঠাই ৰিচিভে নকৰে
আমাৰতো বহুত অসুবিধা হৈ আছে গতিকে ল'ৰা ছোৱালীও পাৰ কৰিব পৰা নাই স্কুললৈ অহা যোৱাটো স্কুললৈ আনিব পৰা নাই স্কুল বা স্কুলত যেনে তেনে নাও দি আনো আৰু ঘৰত এতিয়া নিবলৈ কেতিয়াবা নাওটো সেইফালে থাকে কেতিয়াবা সেইফালে থাকে ল'ৰা ছোৱালীক আধা ঘণ্টা 1 ঘণ্টা হেৰি কৰিব লাগে বহুত বিপদ হৈ আছে ঘৰবিলাকৰ অৱস্থাটো কিবা বহুতে বেয়া হৈ আছে কিবা উতুলাই নি গৈছে বেৰ চেৰ ভাঙি নি গৈছে
And on to some other news now. DRPC, or Digantos Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation Center, has announced that it would award 3 individuals for their exemplary contributions in the field of journalism, medicine, and culture of Assam. Northeast Live Editor-in-Chief Wasbir Hussain, eminent artist Sudakshina Sharma, and Principal of Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed Medical College, Dr. Romin Talukdar, will be honored for their exemplary contributions in their respective fields. Wasbir Hussain has been awarded in the field of journalism. Sudakshina Sharma has been awarded in the field of art and culture, while Dr. Romin Talukdar has been awarded in the field of medicine. The award ceremony will be held on the 10th of July at the Srimanta Shankardev Kalakshetra in Guwahati. The ceremony will be attended by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, Republic TV's Editor-in-Chief Arnab Goswami, singer Zubeen Garg, popular Bollywood actor Adil Hussain, amongst others. All right, on to the big national focus now. The 2-day national executive meeting of the Bharatiya Janata Party is underway in Hyderabad. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is chairing the all-crucial meeting of the Saffron Party, with elections to a number of states in the horizon. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, BJP National President JP Nadda, Chief Ministers of as many as 19 states are also in attendance at the national executive meeting. It needs to be mentioned here, this is the first physical meeting of the BJP's key decision-making body outside the national capital after a gap of 5 years, and the third in a southern state after coming to power in 2014. Moreover, the BJP is holding its national executive meeting in Hyderabad after a gap of 18 years. Expected to be on the discussion table are issues related to the Saffron Party's performance in the assembly elections in 5 states earlier this year. And apart from that, the party's pan-Indian expansion, BJP's intent to form government in states in which its growth has been stalled by regional hiccups, and the electoral preparations for the upcoming general elections are the topics that are likely to dominate the agenda of the executive meeting. And moving on now, a SpiceJet aircraft operating from Delhi to Jabalpur returned safely to Delhi airport today morning after the crew noticed smoke in the cabin while passing 5,000 feet. Passengers safely disembarked, said a SpiceJet spokesperson. The entire cabin was filled with smoke and some people could not breathe, said the passenger of the Jabalpur-bound SpiceJet flight that returned to Delhi after the crew noticed smoke coming from inside the cabin. And while passing 5,000 feet, the flight crew noticed smoke in the cabin while the lavatory smoke alarm went off. The cabin crew immediately informed the cockpit crew. However, on a visual check, no sign of smoke or damage was observed. Climbing further, the smoke in the cabin increased, following which a return was initiated. The aircraft landed safely back at the Delhi airport. Notably, some children and senior citizens were also on board the same flight. Meanwhile, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, or DGCA, has initiated a probe into the incident. On to another big story now. In what has come as fresh trouble for Alt News co-founder Mohammed Zubair, Delhi police has now brought in fresh charges against him in a case related to an alleged objectionable tweet that he had posted back in 2018. As per information, the Delhi police has invoked sections 201, causing disappearance of evidence, 120B, that is criminal conspiracy of the Indian Penal Code, and section 35 of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or FCRA, for allegedly receiving foreign donations. The addition of sections 120B, 201 of the IPC, and 35 of the FCRA paves the way for the Enforcement Directorate to launch a case against Zubair. As Section 120B, that is criminal conspiracy, is a scheduled offense, the Financial Probe Agency is now in a position to lodge a case against him. So far, as part of the ongoing probe, the investigators have confiscated Zubair's mobile phone and recovered a hard disk as well. Delhi police has alleged that he formatted his mobile and deleted certain tweets. A bail application has been filed by Mohammed Zubair's counsel, Notably, Zubair was arrested by Delhi police on the 27th of June for allegedly hurting religious sentiments through one of his tweets and was sent to one-day police custody by the trial court on the same day. Delhi police are also looking into the alleged role of Twitter profiles indulging in Twitter storms started by Zubair. The police stated that some of these tweets were recently deleted, but they are working on finding the trail. And while the two main accused in the Udaipur murder case were attacked by an angry mob outside the premises of an NIA court in Jaipur today. The accused were thrashed by lawyers and an angry mob outside the court premises while being escorted by police. A heavy police force was deployed outside the premises of the NIA court, and the angry mob shouted slogans when the perpetrators were brought out of the court. The lawyers even barged inside the courtroom premises demanding death punishment for the accused. When the prime accused were escorted by police outside the court, an infuriated crowd attacked them with bottles and slippers. The four accused in the Udaipur murder case, including the prime accused Mohammad Riaz and Mohammad Ghaus, have been sent to NIA custody till the 12th of July. A Hindu man, Kanhaiya Lal, was beheaded by Riaz and Ghaus in broad daylight on the 28th of June. The Udaipur murder was recorded on camera and its video has gone viral on social media. Kanhaiya Lal is believed to have been killed over a social media post supporting former BJP leader Nupur Sharma. On Friday, two more persons were arrested in connection with the murder. The accused, identified as Mohsin and Asif, were involved in the conspiracy and preparation behind the entire crime. All four accused have now been sent to NIA custody, and the case has been registered under the stringent Unlawful Activities Prevention Act and is being investigated by the NIA with support from the Anti-Terrorist Squad and Special Operations Group of the Rajasthan Police. An activist, Teesta Setalwad, and former DGP R.B. Srikumar were sent to 14-day judicial custody by Magisterial Court of M.B. Chauhan upon completion of their police remand today. The Ahmedabad Detection of Crime Branch had arrested them last month, just a day after the Supreme Court upheld the clean chit by the SIT to then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, in the 2002 Gujarat riots. Their judicial custody will continue until bail is granted. No bail application has been moved as of now. While both informed the magistrate of there being no ill treatment, Teesta, through her advocate S.M. Vatsa, submitted an application seeking protection within jail. She cited the ground that during her work through the NGO CJP, many were convicted, several of them lodged at the Sabarmati Central Jail, where she will be housed during her judicial custody, and thus she apprehends harm that she may have to face if protection is not granted. Setalwad and Srikumar were held on charges of criminal conspiracy, forgery, and other sections of the IPC on the basis of an FIR lodged in the DCB by Inspector Darshan Singh Barad, which quotes extensively from the court order. Also named in the 9-page FIR filed on behalf of the Gujarat state is former IPS officer Sanjeev Bhatt, who also faced strictures in the Supreme Court order. Bhatt is already in jail in connection with another case.
आज पुलिस ने कोई फर्दर रिमांड एक्यूज का मांगा नहीं है और जुडिशियल कस्टडी में उनको रखने के लिए आज पुलिस अथॉरिटी ने आज एप्लीकेशन दी थी और वो हिसाब से ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने उनको जुडिशियल कस्टडी में लेने का ऑर्डर किया है।
कस्टडी के दौरान तीस्ता के वकील की तरफ से या उनकी तरफ से बातें की गई थी कि जेल में उन्हें अलग से सुरक्षा मुहैया कराई जाए।
उनका ये कहना है कि आज उनको अलग रखा जाए, मगर आज प्रोसिक्यूशन की तरफ से ये ऑनरेबल कोर्ट के अंदर दलील की गई कि जो भी एज पर जेल मैन्युअल जो भी उनको फैसिलिटी मिलती होगी वो मिलेगी और एज पर जेल मैन्युअल उनको रखा जाएगा।
And with that, we've come to the end of our news bulletin. Stay tuned to Northeast Live for more news and updates. Thank you for watching.